What's up YouTube, and welcome back to another video from fullydrone.com. Today we got a video for you on the 5 best tips for new drone pilots for the DJI Mavic. Alright, so welcome back guys, and I promised you guys one video a week, and here I am on the road again in the motel. I know you love the background, and here we go. I'm gonna make you guys another video. Hope you enjoy it. Today we got the 5 tips for new Mavic pilots, and the first tip that I got for you is real important, and I kind of just learned this. I wish that somebody would have told me this when I first got my Mavic. Anyways, don't film in 4K. I know it's a 4K drone, but it only does 60 megabytes per second data transfer, and 4K is actually done in 100 megabytes per second. That's the transfer rate that 4K needs. So you're better off shooting in 2.7K, which actually which is 60 megabytes per second. That's what 2.7K requires for data transfer. So that's what the Mavic is capable of doing. So you're better shooting in 2.7K. That's better than 4K. You'll get a better picture. You'll get a less flickering in your image. That's what I was having a lot of trouble with my 4K image. It was flickering and it was looking like crap, and it's just because the bitrate is just not high enough. 60 megabytes per second is just not high enough. So shoot in 2.7K, and that will save you a lot of grief. Tip number 2 is buy the ND polarized filters. The aperture on the Mavic is set at 2.2, so you can't change it. So when you're in a really bright scene, when there's a lot of sun out, you can't change the aperture. So what you have to do is you have to adjust the shutter speed, which usually gives you a crappy picture. So what you need to do is you need SD filters, or ND filters, sorry, polarized ND filters that I have a link below. You can get them from Amazon. Anyways, there's different ones. Make sure you get these cheaper ones, because some of them don't calibrate properly. So make sure that you get the right ones and look into it. But you need these filters to put on your lens so that you can reduce the sunlight coming into your camera. I wish that somebody would have told me about these at first, because some of the first footage that I took, it was just horrible. There was just way too much light, and I just didn't know what I was doing. So the ND filters, that's the number 2. And for my number 3 tip would be to keep your ISO at 100. You don't want to turn up your ISO, because the Mavic, again, the codec in it is really not very good. So if you turn the ISO up, you get a very grainy picture, or a very grainy video, and there'll be a lot of noise in it, and it actually looks like crap. Anything past 400 is actually really unusable. If you can keep the ISO at 100, that would be best. That's what I would recommend. So keep your ISO at 100. I did some footage where I turned the ISO up because it was a little dark and I couldn't see anything, and it ended up being like crap. If you need to turn the ISO up, you do it in your post. You know, do it on your computer. You can turn the exposure up a little bit on there in post. Your shutter speed. Your shutter speed should always be double your frame rate of what you're recording. So if you're recording at 30 frames per second, your shutter speed should be at 60, and that's something that I didn't really know. And I was turning the shutter speed up, and it was giving me a really bad video. Anyways, unusable video that I would not even show my grandma. Anyways, so you need to keep the shutter speed at double your frame rate. And that's why you need these ND filters on your camera, because if there's too much sun and you have to turn up your shutter speed to reduce the exposure time, then you get a really bad picture. And last but not least, for my tip number 5, you want to make sure that your sharpness in your settings on your Mavic is at +1. Anything below +1 will give you a soft image, and you'll have some blurry spots in your video that you just cannot recover, and it looks like crap. So you want to make sure that you keep your sharpness at +1, and it gives you a very sharp video, which you could reduce a little bit in your post. But that's the only way to get away from having soft spots in your video. So make sure that it's not at 0 or in the negative, because then it's going to start using the onboard noise reduction, and it starts giving you a bad video. So make sure that you keep it at +1, your sharpness. And that's my tip number 5. And I hope you enjoy my 5 tips, and like or subscribe to the video if you really like it, and come back, guys, and I got more Maverick videos coming. And please comment if you got more good tips, or if you don't like my tips. I'll reply to anything. Thank you very much, guys.